No. I think digital signature transactions. Let me check. Signatures, digital signatures are recipient hash, amount, fee. So we can simply calculate digital signature by copy and pasting the information here. Recipient hash. Let me. Recipient hash. This is recipient hash. Okay. I will put amount. Amount 7. So I will put. Then fee. Fee is 4. So over here and put nouns is 1. So I put 1 here. D is which we. If I run this part, this is, and now I should verify it using this command. Before that, I load the public keys, the command that I used to I simply put it here. Now pop. Okay, where this is sig. D, what is D? D, this is data, our data. Let me to run. Okay. Byte, no attribute here. So sorry, let me. Public key verify. Public load. I should serialize it to a DER format. Let me to convert it to DER. Coding DER byte. This is byte. And preloaded signature verified signature bytes from hex. Public key verify. Where is the public key? Public key, private key using. We don't have the public key. I think we verify the signature. Let me check. Name error. Data. Here. D calculate signature. It's okay. Sign private sign. So using a private key. To be honest, we don't have the private key, so you cannot verify the digital signature. You know, if you want to check it, you should have the quiz. Okay, so this quiz we cannot check the signature because here we need the private key. In this question, you don't have the private key. So the only thing that we can check is that we hash all these fields, this, and all these fields should be this transaction ID. As you know, the transaction ID is the hash of all fields. Means that we should use this command. We should use this function, something like this. I should put the information here. For example, I should copy this here. Then put other fields there. Run this part. The output is this output be as the same as this one. Not the satisfaction lead. Okay, for checking the signature, need the private key. Since in this question we don't have private key, so we cannot check the signature. But just we can check two things: check public and has to be consistent as I checked, and finally can the hash of all the fields and then check that the output is the same as transaction ID. If it's not, okay. If it's not, it means that the transaction is not valid. But in the examination, you can simply check the sender public key and sender hash, because in all the transactions we have used just one public key, and one public key, it's not possible to have three different hashes. So it could be true, but as you can see, all three was invalid. All three were invalid. Okay, let me use to solve this part. No, sorry. This question. I want to generate a digital. Ask your question. Yes, we have all the codes are here. This is a code for saving public key, or this is a code for saving public key. This is a code for loading the private key. If you can save load a private key, then using a command here, you can see I have saved the private key. Then using this simple command, you can calculate its public key. So we have the code for saving the keys. Or for the public key, you can rewrite this function, okay? Instead of private key write, simply write public key, and that's it. Execute what? Which question do you mean? Now I'm trying to solve this question. I want to solve this question. Here there is a private key, okay? As I explained, I saved that PM, and now using by calling this function, file name exam key dot okay. So now private exam key is using I should use this command, okay. So I'll copy this here. My data, so D is be my name as the question asks. That's it. Okay, so the answer of okay. So 1, 2, 3, all 3 questions answered. Last question in a transaction like the previous question was the application of nouns, as you to distinguish between with the same recipient and sender. When the sender and the recipient and all the data like the amount, fee, everything is all these information are the same, nouns is used to them because I can consequently send 2 bitcoins to Alice 2 times, 3 times. How other in the network can discuss in that all these transactions are the same or about the second question, I think The programming part is only the last question. Using EC at first generate, okay? Send them. Then suppose the signature of a transaction includes the following fields: recipient address, amount, fee, nouns. If recipient address, amount, and nouns, using the generated EC keys, calculate the signature for this transaction. Okay, it's very simple because you use now in this question. At first you were asked to generate public and private. I have this part, my private key. This is my public key. So I can simply use this function to calculate the digital signature. How? By copying this information. Copy, paste it here. Then amount. So amount is 100. Fee is 0 and nouns is 1. Fee is 0, nouns 1. It's okay. So I think it's enough. And that's it. This is the output. Okay, this is the digital signature. Digital signature. And that's it. Can one want to send? The answer is it's not possible with this part of code, because when you want to send, you need all the network. Okay, all these examples have created hand. Understand? All these information were created by hand. If I want to really send the transaction, I should all the codes. I should use all the networks. We didn't talk about the network. Okay? So it doesn't mean I can create different transactions by hand, but not by code. You know, I can create separately a sender hash, receipt. I can consider, for example, some amount, fee, nouns, and then I can create by the code the digital signatures, and finally I can create the transaction ID. But any code, or at least I didn't give you transactions automatically. Okay, so you can't generate transactions automatically. You should generate them by hand. I think all the necessary codes how to load keys. This is key. This is also for the RSA, the necessary codes to save the keys, to load the keys, also can be as using this command. You can simply save a private key. Use this one, your public key, and using command you load a public key, or using load public key. This is load public key, but we have load and pulse, so you can use these two libraries to print public keys in SA, but in PC, private key, private key load DR 2 times. We need them 2 times, just one is enough. Using these commands, you can save and load private keys, then using the private generate the public key based on the private key. Okay, but maybe you have some questions in the final. As example 500, based that calculated, we have some information. Putting at this information, at the end of this information, the resulting hash must started with some zero. The number of zero depends on the difficulty and example. Here, the out increase the difficulty. If you want to create a transaction, I'm answering you. If you want to create a transaction, sending some only Bob nouns, then calculate the signature and put the transaction ID. Because the digital signature also can be changed. Okay, prevent others to tamper the transaction for the recipient only the hash. All the in the final exam, for example, and then I find a hash based on to find the nouns that I put the nouns at the end of this information, the resulting hash zeros. So, let me, okay. Now, as you can see, the output, this is again for the nouns is 24, 31, 81. No, this is not my answer. I'm trying to calculate. I'm trying to find a nation. The resulting hash starts with 5. This is only 4, so make sure to should be started with 50. The number of bits, yes, the number of bits is now 19. This is the number of bits represented using one character, so it's nearly 20, means that we have 50. So the 5 leading zeros in this example. And so the question you can say, okay, this is the answer, this is the nouns. If you put these nouns at the end of this information, and then if you hash the information with these nouns, the resulting hash will be started. Suppose you are in a reliable environment. In the environment, everybody has a public key and people know the public key of each other. So then how you can send your message in a way that only Ali can read it and can be sure that the sender is you and not others. Suppose, okay. If you can remember, in when started to explain the encryption, decryption, at first I talked about the concept of encryption and the concept of digital signature. Okay, if private key by your private key, as you can remember, I said it's not encryption, it's the digital signature, and using this, people can be ensured that the message is received from you. So in this question, at first, encrypt the message using the public key. So first, I encrypt the message using the public key of Ali, and then I encrypt again the resulted encrypted message with my private key. The network, everybody can decrypt that, because only Ali, everybody can check that it's me. Okay, combination is first. The second question, we know in each action there is a field named nouns. Suppose you are not allowed to use instead the same application as nouns. Okay. I think the simplest answer to distinguish between the same transaction, sender, the receiver, the amount, fee, are the same. Okay? If we cannot use nouns, we can simply, okay? So the answer, and I solved all other. Next week, next is the last week. Before the final examination. Please review all the concepts. Just to arrange all them, and I will have answer your questions. So next week, last session. Okay. Please, all the persons now. Now, if you have any question, please let me know. If you have any question about these two midterm examinations, everything about the course, if you to review questions,